Welcome to Walking in Worthington. We're going to do the PocketSite tour developed by the Worthington Historical Society. You can get it by going online and getting the PocketSite app, and PocketSite tour by going to the Worthington Historical Society website and following the links. So we start at the office parking lot. If you didn't walk here, welcome to Walnut Grove Cemetery. Visitors who arrive in a vehicle can park at the office lot alongside any of the roads throughout the cemetery. Please make sure dogs are leashed during your visit. Additionally, should a funeral be in progress during your tour, please be respectful and rework your tour route if necessary. As you progress through the tour, swipe left on the images, see pictures of stone locations, inscriptions, and photos of associated buildings, homes, and people as available. Stop 1 is the intersection of Sycamore and Memorial. From stop 1 to stop 2, follow Buckeye, which merges into Cottonwood. Stop 2 is at the intersection of Cottonwood and Maple. Continue your tour. So we're assuming that we parked our car over here, but we just walked in through the neighborhood, and we're walking to the next place. We're going to Captain William Penny and the Beers family. So it's a beautiful day today. Walnut Grove is part of a union cemetery union with the Sharon Township, which also includes Flint Cemetery. Worthington is in Sharon Township, and we have a 0.5 mil property tax that helps maintain these two properties, the Walnut Grove and Sharon Township cemeteries. You also get a discount if you're a Sharon Township resident on grave sites and interments, but it's also, you have a beautiful location. There's a wait list to have a full body burial in Walnut Grove, but there's lots of sites available in Flint to be buried. There's also lots of different options for getting your name on a monument at different locations. You can have your monument placed on a shared bench, and there's different stones that you could have your name added to for the two different locations. The cemetery has many options available, so please come by and ask the cemetery superintendent manager what options there are if you'd like to be memorialized in one of these two properties. But today we're walking through Walnut Grove Cemetery. We're getting to Captain William Penny and the Beers family. To the left of the road, as you approach Maple Street, you'll find the markers for Captain William Penny and Ginny Beers. Penny was a member of the 46th Ohio Volunteer Infantry. He was the main recruiter for the company. He was also the grandson of Levi Penny, who we will visit later in the tour. Penny. We're looking for Penny. Parker. Captain William Penny. We have the Snuffers. Well, there's a Penny. There it is. We're close. We just had to turn around. So across from the Snuffers is Penny. So Penny was a member of the 46th Ohio Volunteer Infantry. He was the main recruiter for the company. He was also the grandson of Levi Penny, we'll later visit on the tour. Penny's first wife was Jeannie Beers. Her parents, Uriah Sr. and Clarissa, were the proprietors of the Beers Tavern, which was built in the 1810s on the southeast corner of Stafford and High, where the old Worthington Library is located today. Architecturally, this was the most distinctive building in the village with a 3-story central section and elegantly crafted Palladian-style entry. The Tavern Inn had several owners, and it was sold to Uriah Beers in 1838, whose family members continued to operate it until the Civil War, burned down around the turn of the 20th century. From stop 2, turn right onto Maple and walk about 10 feet to stop 3 on your right. Turn right onto Maple. There's Maple. Walk about 10 stops to stop 3 on my right. We're going to the other Orange Johnson. About 10 feet on my right. The other Orange Johnson. So, super close. We might have to do this tour again. Jeannie and John. There's Orange Johnson. There we go, Orange Johnson. That was a little bit more than 10 feet from the turn. But there we go. Orange was a more common name in the 1800s than it is today. At that time, there were at least 3 Orange Johnsons, unrelated to each other, living in Ohio, 2 in Worthington. Buried in Walnut Grove is a different Orange Johnson than the one who lived in the large brick house that is now the Society's Museum at North Street and High Street. The Orange Johnson buried here was born in 1842 in Knox County. He served in the 65th Ohio Volunteer Infantry and re-enlisted in the Army, remaining almost until the end of the Civil War. On April 15, 1865, he is listed as having deserted and was given a dishonorable discharge. This was reversed in 1888. He had probably become separated from his unit, couldn't find them, and joined another unit for the remainder of the war. To become separated from your unit during battle was a common problem during the Civil War. He spent the remainder of his life with his wife, Mary Jane, who went by Jeannie, living in Sharon Township as a farm laborer. Both Orange and Jeannie have government-issued stones that were available to veterans and their spouses. They both have medallions indicating they were members of the Grand Army of the Republic. There they go. Grand Army of the Republic. Right there. And then Jeannie over here with her star. There it is. For veterans who served in the Civil War and their spouses. In addition to the 2 Orange Johnsons in Worthington, there was also an Orville Johnson who went by Dr. O. Johnson. Orville was active in the school board and was a practicing physician in the second half of the 1800s in Worthington. He too is buried here at Walnut Grove. From stop 3 to stop 4, continue on Maple, where the Griswold Monument is a tall obelisk visible off the path to the middle of the section. Going to the Griswolds is a tall obelisk. Ooh, I think I see it right there in the middle of the section. Walnut Grove has at least 20 members of the Griswold family, many of whom are buried in this area. You may enjoy wandering off the path towards the tall obelisk. Image 1 in the section to the left. Is the monument to George Harlow Griswold and his wife, Mila Thompson. George Harlow was the second oldest son of Ezra Griswold, who made the trip to Worthington from Connecticut at age 8 when the Scioto Company came in 1803. His wife, Mila Thompson, also came as a young child. General Griswold served in the militia and was a veteran of War of 1812. He was actively involved in the creation of this cemetery and was also the sexton or recorder for St. John Cemetery. He followed his father in performing as Justice of the Peace, was first elected recorder when the village was first incorporated in 1835, completed several terms as mayor, and was postmaster for a time. He succeeded his father's owner, operator, and lifelong resident of the Griswold Tavern, Griswold Inn, but his primary income was from rental property. When he died, he owned 464 acres of land in Worthington and Sharon Township. George Harlow's only son, Worthington Franklin, image 5, inherited everything. The rental income and the properties. Worthington Franklin and his wife, Fundelia, had 14 children. WF, as he was known, became a surveyor and civil engineer. He was also Sharon Township Justice of the Peace, as well as mayor of the village for some time. Of their 14 children, Edith, Carolyn, Howard, Edwin, Herbert are here, as well as his 8th daughter, Ruth. Ruth was the last Griswold woman to live in the Griswold Inn until 1964, when the inn was torn down. For the last year of her life, Ruth lived with her sister Edith in California. Both women are buried here. So there's mother, father, and then Edith Griswold right there. Delia Ruth Griswold, Worthington F. Griswold. So then, I wonder if these are Griswolds too. That's a different, no, yeah, here we are. Ruth Griswold. That's someone else. Carolyn Griswold. William F. Fletcher. Worthington G. Fletcher. Constant. Amelia Thompson. Okay. So now we're going to continue on, Maple, to John Hood and the Burkheads. John Hood and the Burkheads. Look for the white marker for John Hood just after Beach to locate the row where the Burkheads are buried. Look for the white marker for John Hood just after Beach. For the marker, locate where the Burkheads are buried. James Burkhead and his wife, Letty, lived on property once owned by Worthington's founders, James Kilbourne. In the early 1800s, Kilbourne had built his Worthington Manufacturing Company along the Olentangy River at the bottom of West South Street. On this land, he had also constructed in 1814 a boarding house, which is still there today. Burkhead was born in 1851, purchased this property in 1892 for $950. Much as, I'm going to check the map again. Beach. So where's Beach? There's some more snuffers. We're looking for, oh, this, I bet it's this one right here. John Hood. So there we go. So we passed Beach Road and got to John Hood. So much as James Kilbourne had helped his neighbors by developing his business, James Burkhead and his family. Oh, there's. Oh, so that was John Hood. So we're actually going to Burkhead. There we go. Father, mother. There we go. Mother and Santee. Much as James Kilbourne had helped his neighbors by developing his businesses, James Burkhead and his family planted orchards and raised fruits and vegetables that they sold to Worthington and neighboring areas. James Burkhead and his family lived in the boarding house, the same one where the officers stayed during the training camp at the beginning of the Civil War, for the 46th Ohio Volunteer Infantry led by Colonel Thomas Worthington. In addition to feeding his family and supplying food to his neighbors, James became one of the founders of the St. John AME, African Methodist Episcopal Church on Plymouth Street in Worthington. A daughter, Catherine Burkhead Trimble, was a 1924 graduate of Worthington High School. She graduated from Ohio Wesleyan with a B.S. in education and became the first African-American teacher in the Delaware City schools. In the same row, a son-in-law, John Hood, is buried. He was a Civil War veteran, a member of the Black Artillery Unit. So, just want to take a look here. So current Worthington history, that's a sewer line that had to be rebuilt and goes gravity fed to the city of Columbus to get treated. So we're going to keep on going. down to Lyman and Royal Gardner. So we have to go around the corner, but we'll keep on going quite a bit. So right here, we're along the fenced area is the other side of the river. There is Rush Run Nature Preserve. So we're butt up against Nature Preserve. It's within the city of Worthington, but it is owned by the city of Columbus, and it's parkland that you're allowed to go back, and there are walking trails that are loosely made, but feel free to roam beyond the fence here. It's a City of Columbus owned park within the city of Worthington. It's 40 acres. It's divided by Rush Run Creek there, and we're going on to Lyman and Royal Gardner. Lyman Gardner served in the Civil War, and after retiring from the sawmill lumber business in the Powell area, moved to the village of Worthington. In the 1890s, he established the first official bank in Worthington called the Worthington Savings Bank in 1892. He also built the large yellow house on the northwest corner of Route 161 in Oxford. Royal served in the Spanish-American War, which was the first military engagement on foreign soil since the war with Mexico in 1846. There are few Spanish-American veterans in this cemetery. The other unique marker on the front of his grave indicates membership of the Independent Order of Odd Fellows, IOOF, which is a non-political and non-sectarian international fraternity that was founded in 1819. The three links with the letters F, L, and T, her friendship, love, and truth, are IOOF symbol. So I think we missed our turn. We'll go back. We're supposed to get to Walnut and go to Gardner. So getting to looks like Gardner should be on our left. It says we're here. Gardner. Maybe right here. Parsons. Gardner. Keys. Oh, Gardner. It's on our right, not our left. So there's the Gardner. So Royal, Gardner, Lyman, Lillian, Franklin E. Royal. There we go. Gardner. So that's near the corner of Beach and Walnut. Lyman and Royal Gardner. Royal and Lyman. So we're going to keep on going up Walnut to the mausoleum up ahead. In 1918, a mausoleum with 128 crypts was completed by Scott Morris. In 1967, his widow signed a quitclaim selling the mausoleum to the Walnut Grove Cemetery for $1 to allow the much-needed repairs to be made using tax money. Mausoleums got their name from the splendid and grand tomb that Artemisa, an Asian minor queen, built for her late husband, King Mausolus, who died around 350 BC. It was so dazzling that mausoleum became a common name for exceptionally beautiful tomb structures. The mausoleum that has leaded glass windows which face south go up to the doors and look through and see the windows lighted up by the sun. Inside the crypts are all faced with marbles, and floor is marble. So we got some deer there. They seem to be very comfortable. Ooh, there I am. So you can hang out there. There are the windows in the back. Floor. Not quite Romanesque, but it's a cool place. Mausoleum. And the deer are like, what are you doing in my space? So we're going to go on to Chrissa Johnson Maynard. Up the way. Chrissa Maynard was a sister of early prominent businessman Orange Johnson. She migrated from Connecticut to Worthington, Ohio with her brother in 1814. Chrissa married Moses Maynard Jr., who also migrated to Ohio from Massachusetts. He was a veteran of the War of 1812. The Maynards operated a large sheep farm in the area of south of Worthington, now known as the village of Riverley, in the 19th century. They lived in a home at the southwest corner of River Glen and North High Street. In the dining room of the Orange Johnson House Museum on the High Street in Worthington can still be seen Chrissa's corner china cabinet and some of her china. Upstairs, one of her beautiful fans is displayed, showing her to be a lady of culture and position in the community. She is buried with her husband, Moses, and the Clara E. Lenhart Maynard, the first wife of their son, DeVos. DeVos remarried and moved from Worthington. Chrissa died before Walnut Grove Cemetery was here, so she was moved here later to be with her husband and daughter-in-law. So, Chrissa Maynard. So we're at the Sharps, but we need to get to the Maynards. Be close. Corson Maynard, I think I see it. So here we go. Moses Maynard and Clara and Chrissa. I don't know if you can see that. You'll have to come here yourself and find out. So there's the Maynards. We're going to go a little bit down the way to John Snow and the Masonic Lodge. So there's the Maynards. For orientation, this far from the mausoleum, Maynards. And now we're going to go to John Snow and the Masonic Lodge. Most of Worthington's theater companies were Masons, and the organization was a very important aspect of life in early Worthington. There we go. There's the mausoleum. There's a monument. John Snow was a silversmith and merchant from Providence, Rhode Island, whom James Kilbourne persuaded to come west to Worthington. His house, the Snow House, is the best known as the building with the crooked doorway and windows in West New England Avenue. Because John Snow was an early master of New England Lodge No. 4, many Masonic meetings and rite ceremonies were held in his home prior to the lodge being constructed in 1820. The cornerstone of the Masonic Lodge building features a copper plate engraved with John Snow's name and the words Masonry, virtue, and universal benevolence. The Masonic Temple was oldest in continuous use west of the Allegheny Mountains until it moved out of Worthington in 2013, leaving behind only the New England Lodge No. 4. John Snow died prior to the availability of Walnut Grove Cemetery, so he was moved here also. So, looks like it also has Mary, the wife of John, and the son of John Snow. So we're going to go a little bit further up to the Circle of Honor at Memorial Day, Walnut Grove Cemetery. Each year, the Worthington American Legion Post 239 hosts one of the largest Memorial Day parades in Ohio. Oh, there we go. The parade usually begins at the American Legion Post 239 on Morning Street and ends at the Walnut Grove Cemetery. The parade was originally started by the Daughters of the American Revolution, and since 1919 has continued to be hosted by the American Legion Post 239. After the parade, everyone is invited to a service that is held in the cemetery on the ceremonial mound in the section of the cemetery which is called the Circle of Honor. The Circle of Honor was dedicated on May 31st, 2010 by Dr. Robert Chosey, cemetery trustee. Each Memorial Day, the cemetery staff places a flag at each of the 1,388 veterans' graves and is a sight to behold. The veterans also have a flag holder that is provided by the Veterans Association that denotes the war in which they served, or if they served during peacetime. There are veterans of the War of 1812 through the Persian Gulf War represented in Walnut Grove. So here's the Circle of Honor. So we have to go back out to get to the rights. 3 generations of the Wright family were occupants of the elegant residence of 137 East Granville Road, but now known as the Sharon Memorial Hall. It was built in 1861 by Horace Wright. Before his marriage to Henrietta Tuller. Wright operated a sawmill and was also active in farming. One of 8 children of Potter Wright and Lavisa Menard Wright, Horace and wife Henrietta had 5 children. In 1 week, in 1876, 3 died. Wow, that's awful. Kate, Albert, and Bernard from childhood diphtheria. Subsequent generations, it's a good thing we have vaccines now to prevent diphtheria. Please get your vaccination. Subsequent generations of the Wright family occupied the home until 1940. Following a war memorial levy in 1945, the property was conveyed to the trustees of the Sharon Township Memorial. There are 51 burials with the last name of Wright at the Walnut Grove Cemetery. So we need to find Wright. Snow and the Wrights have to be up just a little bit. Oh, I see them. So we went back out. There's a Circle of Honor, but we could have done a little bit diagonal and got to Wright over here. So there's 41 Wrights overall from that family. Okay, just going on a little way to Captain Levi Penny. Wow, there are a lot of Wrights. So we're going to Captain Levi Penny. Is near, should be very close. There's Alzra Penny. I wonder if Captain Levi's on the other side here. Miles Penny, 14 years old. Captain Levi Penny was a young man when members of the Scioto Company became the first settlers in Worthington. His marriage to Charlotte Beach was the first wedding in the village of Worthington, a double ceremony with that of his brother, Abner and Polly Orson. Levi was an ensign in the Sharon Township Light Infantry Militia Company, organized in 1805. In the War of 1812, he became a captain. In Worthington, he worked as a blacksmith, doing the work of a combination scientist, inventor, manufacturer, and mechanic. In 1839, he became Sharon Township Justice of the Peace, and in 1842, Mayor of Worthington. A street just north of Riverlea is named Penny Drive. Next to Penny Stone is that of his son, Miles Penny. Miles Penny was a colonel in the militia and purchased the Orange Johnson farm, now the museum. In 1863, just before his death. His family maintained the home for some time. Fun fact, there are 41 burials with the same last name of Pinney in Walnut Grove. Wow, the same as the Wrights. Okay, from stop 12 to stop 13, turn left on Sharon and proceed almost to the corner of Oak. The taller monument is set back from Sharon near the corner. Turn left on Sharon and proceed almost to the corner of Oak. Okay, there's Oak. Here's Sharon. We're going to go to the Tullers. It's another obelisk. In 1806, Bella and Linda Holcomb Tuller came to the Worthington vicinity, eventually purchasing farmland in the Leavenworth area. Son Flavel was 11 years old at the time the family migrated to Ohio. Flavel Tuller, 1795 to 1881, wow, he lived a long time, was a veteran of the War of 1812 at a young age, conveying supplies to the Army fronts. So here is Oak. And there's Tuller. He and his brother operated a distillery on the farm and later had a mercantile business just north of today's Village Green. The brothers also operated a slaughtering and pork packing business just north of today's Village Green. The brothers also operated a slaughtering pork packing business. Flavel and Homer owned a home on the north side of the Northwest Village Green, where the Griswolds Center is now, which became known as the Tuller Archer House. Flavel and Lucinda Tuller's daughter, Henrietta, married Horace Wright, who you learned about at stop 11. There are 32 burials with the last name of Tuller in Walnut Grove. From stop 13 to stop 14, head back on Sharon from the direction you came and proceed to Triangular Island at the base of Sharon, Cedar, and Cemetery Drive. So, going back this way to the 46th Ohio Volunteer Infantry, Private Lois Crawford and Camp Lyon is where we're going to. So there's a nice little map on the app, and you can have your phone track your location, and it's near the little triangle. Yeah, it must be under the bush there. Thanks to efforts of Worthington resident Merlin Denig from Denig Jewelers families, Private Lois Crawford, who died at Worthington's Camp Lyon, represents the members of the 46th Ohio Volunteer Infantry with Memorial Monument. The 46th Ohio Infantry, OVI, has always been considered by the residents of Worthington as their own, since they organized, recruited, and trained in the Worthington Camp Lyon during the fall of 1861. The regiment's first colonel was Thomas Worthington, West Point class of 1827, son of Governor Thomas Worthington, for whom the town was named. Camp Lyon was located at the foot of South, then Factory Street, near the Olentangy River. The presence of the old mill dam and large spring near the bend of the river in the area known as Lime Kiln provided adequate water supply. The entire regiment totaled almost 1,000 men. Several brick buildings were occupied and tents were erected in the area known as Mechanic Square. These buildings remain from James Kilburn's ill-fated adventures in 1811, the Worthington Manufacturing Company. In September 1861, a recruiting office was opened in the frame building on the east side of the High Street in the business section. William Pinney of Worthington was among those active in recruiting. He received a commission as captain, and it was his company that most of Worthington men served. Other companies were made up of volunteers from Lincoln, Fairfield, and Van Wert counties. Their first major encounter was the Battle of Shiloh. There were 96 locally who enlisted. 2 died before Shiloh. 9 transferred to other companies, so there were 85 locals present at Shiloh. 4 were killed, 11 wounded, 1 died of wounds, and 1 went missing, so there were only 69 present after the battle. Many of Company B are buried here at Walnut Grove, including a couple of those killed or wounded at Shiloh. From stop 14 to stop 15, travel back from the way you came to take the Cedar, or turns to the right. Continue tour. We're getting close to the end of the tour. Travel back the way we came. We're going to see the Corbins. Sam and Cornelia Bess Corbin, who are both raised in Worthington, purchased the funeral business operating in the Kilbourne Commercial Building on the High Street from Frank Goebel in 1922. The building is the oldest surviving building in Worthington and the oldest commercial building in its original site in continuous commercial use dating to 1808. The building now houses the offices of ATR Realtors. Cornelia was an active member of the Worthington community. She bought the Worthington Inn in 1936 and was a member and former organist of Worthington United Methodist Church, as well as a trustee of the Worthington Library. She is also reported to be the first woman to receive a driver's license in Worthington. Cornelia was the last person to live upstairs in the residential part of the building, who died in 1978. Son Frank Goebel Corbin and wife Edith later took over the funeral business. Frank was a historian for the Worthington Historical Society, and his wife Edith Lewis Corbin created a large quilt depicting many of the early homes in Worthington, which hangs in the stairwell of our headquarters being the Worthington Historical Society. This is all from them. This is their tour that I'm leading you on. Of the old rectory. They are buried here along with each set of parents, the Corbins and the Lewises. So we're going to the Corbins, so we haven't quite got to, there it is. So there's some Griswolds, McLean. We go to Corbin. Mary Ann Lewis, William, Edith Lewis, Frank Corbin, Cornelia West, Salem Mule, and then there's some Ortegas, but Thomas Winfield Corbin. Okay, so now we're going back to finish to see Bill Archer. Bill Archer caught the attention of the Central Ohioans with his whimsical and fascinating vignettes, his renderings and historical accounts of the various buildings, past and present, in the area that appeared each week in the Columbus Dispatch. Beginning his work in 1964 and concluding in 1970, Archer illustrated dozens of sites around Columbus, including Worthington and Ohio State University, giving flavor and new life to the history of the city. The vignettes were later published in several volumes of books. Bill was a graduate of the Ohio State University and majored in English and Fine Arts. He later was on the faculty in the School of Journalism. However, he is best known as an artist, particularly a watercolorist, and as a writer. In addition to writing for the Dispatch, he produced and syndicated science features that appeared in 400 U.S. newspapers. After Archer and his wife lived in Riverly. So we're going to I think I passed it. Archer. We should be close. Bill Archer, 3 bushes. That's what we're looking for together. Oh, we were supposed to turn right at Dogwood. William, just off the path to the right. So there's Cedar. We came up that way. We're supposed to turn right and travel a short distance, and William Archer's grave will be on the right, just off the path. Not quite sure. William Archer. Miller's gravestone yourself. I'm not quite sure where it's at. I haven't been here to see William Arter. All right. So, oh, well, that's just it. We were in the right location. We should have, we go left on Dogwood, not right. The directions were wrong. So there's Cedar and Dogwood. So we went the right direction to begin with. And now we are going to get to Bill Arthur's. That should be right a little bit off the path. And we're looking for Bill Arter. There we go. Alta May, Mary Arter, and Bill Arter. We did it. So there are actually many other people here, and it is an active cemetery. There's people still buried. People love Worthington. They love being remembered and being part of the history. You can be too. Just stop on by. So the next thing we're going to explore after this is a trip in the park adjacent to the cemetery. Well, thanks for coming with me on this walk in Worthington. I hope to see you next time. And please go to the Worthington Historical Society and find out more about these tours that they've created in the PocketSites app and donate to them too. Thanks.